I'm putting my foot in my mouth because in the last video that I had posted, I said that I would never cut wood with a Cricut Maker ever again. And here I am getting ready to cut wood because as I was sitting there editing that video, yes, I do edit all my own content, but whatever, I felt really guilty. And then I was like, but why won't I? Just to be able to show you why I think the xTool M2 is the way to go. So today what we are gonna do is we are gonna cut some wood with the Cricut Maker. I'm not looking forward to this because it's going to be painful. It's going to be painfully long for the Cricut Maker, but that's okay because by the end of this, I am gonna fully convince you that if you are interested in cutting any type of thicker materials like wood for your crafting purposes, the xTool M2 is the way to go. We're gonna have some time comparisons here just to show you. I'm gonna create the same sign two ways, one with the xTool, one with the Cricut Maker, and then the next with the xTool M2. So if you are going to be creating the sign with the Cricut Maker, you are obviously going to need the Cricut Maker. Then what you're going to need is this right here, which is the knife blade. It's like 25, 30 bucks or something like that. Then what you're gonna need is some wood. Now, unfortunately, the wood that you can cut with the Cricut Maker is far less thick, like it's really flimsy. It's a very flimsy piece of wood. I'm going to cut this also with the xTool M2. Just know that this right here can cut thicker materials than this thin sheet of wood. But since we're doing an apples to apples comparison, what I want to do is show you how it looks finished from both machines. So obviously you're gonna need some really thin wood. Then what you're gonna need is some tape. I just have some green frog tape, painter's tape, any type of tape, because we have to tape our wood down to a strong grip mat. So make sure that you have a strong grip mat because you're gonna need it. Okay, then the other thing that you are going to need doing anything, cutting wood with a Cricut, is a bit of patience. This is not going to be an easy project over here, but then what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how easy it is to create the same thing on the xTool M2. You're going to be blown away. And then by the end of this, I'm going to convince you that this is the reason why I think the xTool M2 is the better option for the Cricut for projects like these. So let's head over into Cricut Design Space first, set that sucker up. Then I'm going to show you how we set up the wood to the mat. And then we get to crafting. Let's go. Over in Cricut Design Space, what you want to do first is make sure your machine is turned on, and we are going to connect to the, right here. We're going to connect to the maker that you're going to be using. Awesome. Then what we're going to do is we are going to insert the SVG file that we're going to use for both of these projects. This particular file is found within my cardstock warehouse, Celebration Warehouse, and it is going to be this first day of school pennant. So over here, we are going to drag and drop that. And this right here is the SVG file that we're going to use. So we are going to press continue. You can rename this if you want, but then you would just press upload. And here is the finished SVG file for you. Now I do include the last day of school because, you know, historically, every single time I've had my children for the first day of school pictures, I like to do their last day of school pictures. So for this, I am going to right click and press ungroup. And then I am going to take the fonts of both of these and I'm just gonna drag them over. But then I am also gonna delete the last day of school because I am not going to be doing last day of school pictures here pretty shortly. Okay, first thing that I wanna do though is I wanna cut out the pennant, but I also have to resize it. The wood that I bought is kind of tiny. I honestly thought that I was buying larger sheets of wood. I got the thickness correct, but it's kind of small. So the sheets that I have are 6 by 6 inches. So this is a 6 by 7. I obviously need this to be smaller because it needs to fit in here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take these and let's just resize this down to fit my one sheet of wood. So let's just do 5.5. Okay, so it's gonna be a 5.5 by 4.71 inch pennant, which is fine. So taking this font, moving it over. Okay, I want to cut this pennant first. So I am going to just delete this first day of school. I do know that I'm gonna need some sort of different material for the first day of school because there's no way in heck this knife blade will cut those small of fonts, there's no way it would be able to do that. So I'm going to need to be able to cut the font out in cardstock, in vinyl, in HTV, something. I have to do something besides layering pieces of wood. Okay, so I'm gonna delete that, and we're just gonna start with the pennant first. So I'm gonna press make. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open up this thing. I'm gonna take off the topper of this, and I'm gonna open up my maker here on this side, which is the clamp B. And I'm gonna put my knife blade inside the Cricut. I'm gonna clamp this shut. Now, before we do anything more with a Cricut, what you want to do is you want to then put your wood on your strong grip mat. So I'm gonna take off the plastic for this. I'm gonna take out my piece of wood, and I'm gonna put this in the middle of my mat, just like that, okay? I'm gonna add in some frog tape. You wanna make sure and use some sort of tape to tape your wood down. Otherwise it's gonna slide all the way around your mat, and it's not gonna be a good cut. And see, even though I have a stronger mat, it's still wanting to slide around already. All right, we got this sucker taped down all 4 sides. I'm also gonna take a brayer, and I'm just gonna push this down really hard onto my mat just to make sure that it's stuck there. You don't want this sliding around. Then opening up this, you're gonna see that you have these little like plasticky wheels. You're gonna want to slide those out of the way. It's not gonna be easy, but you wanna slide them out of the way from your piece of wood. All right, now that I have that done, what I wanna do is make sure that my thing that I'm getting ready to cut is actually in the middle of my mat, right? Because my wood's in the middle of my mat, my thing that I'm cutting needs to be in the middle. So this needs to go here. So my piece of wood is right here, and that's where I'm gonna put it, right there in the middle, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna press continue. Then we are gonna come over here to browse all material, and I'm gonna put in wood. And I have, just to double check, I got my calipers. I have 1.5 millimeter basswood. So I'm gonna do this one right here, okay? And then I'm gonna press done. Now when I have that done, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna insert this into the Cricut Maker. Now what we're gonna do is we are gonna press the plus sign. And this right here, my friends, is where, when I first got my Cricut Maker and I thought I was getting ready to be able to cut wood, this is where I decided I was never going to use the Cricut Maker ever again to cut wood, because it detects it. And then it says 1 out of 14 passes. 1 out of 14 passes. It says 3 minutes. I don't think that this is wrong. 3 minutes is not accurate. So while we wait for that to get done cutting, what we're gonna do is we are gonna head over into the xTool Studio, and I'm gonna come over here into new project, and I am going to drag and drop the same SVG file that we are cutting over here. We're gonna cut over there, over here. So drag and drop it into here. And I am going to right click, and I'm going to ungroup, delete this, and also drag the letters out of the way. I'm gonna select both of these, and I'm going to resize this because we're doing apples to apples. I want to do the same size, so 5.75. All right, then I'm going to drag up my letters, and I'm gonna bring them up out of my workspace. This I want to cut. Okay, ooh, I need to change over to my xTool M2. I have a boatload of xTool laser machines. So I'm gonna come over here to the xTool P3, and I need to switch it over to the M2 because this has a smaller workspace than my xTool P3, but it does have a smaller footprint. Okay, so I need to plug this in and turn it on. So let me do that. Now with my xTool turned on, I am connected to it now. It's connected via Wi-Fi. What I am gonna do is I am going to insert my piece of wood into the xTool M2. And this are little clamping things that I'm going to just hover over my bed just so it gives me the best cut possible, the front and the back. There's not going to be any type of back spray or, you know, ugliness. So we're going to make sure that this is nice and straight, okay? All right, have that inserted into my thing. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start the automation process. So I'm going to shut the lid. And now what happens is that machine is going to start doing an automation process. And you can see on my screen that we now have a live picture of what's inside the xTool. This right here is ready to go. So I'm just going to insert this into my piece of material. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select the material that I'm going to be using. So up here, I'm gonna do wood. Now at this point, what I'm gonna do is I am going to press process. This says it's gonna take 2 minutes and 37 seconds. I have to tell you right now, this has taken longer than 3 minutes. I will let you know, just a little asterisk on the screen at some point in time, how long it actually did end up taking for this machine to get done, because it's been longer than 3 minutes. So let's just press start. I'm gonna turn on my air filter at the front of the machine. I'm gonna press the play button, and now it's going to start doing the cuts. Okay, so I just pressed start over there for the xTool, and this just got done cutting, and this is what the end results look like for the Cricut Maker. Not bad, looks pretty decent, did a really good little round cut here. So I am going to eject this right here. And I know someone's gonna put in the comments, if I were to stop at just cutting the pennant and the wood with a maker, someone's gonna go, oh, but you didn't even try cutting the font. I bet it would work. So here we are, we're gonna try, okay? So just want you to know, I'm trying to be the best content creator for you. So I'm just gonna give you all the facts and all the knowledge. We have the lettering that I want to use for this pennant. So I'm just going to press attach just to make sure it stays lined up. And I'm gonna put this, again, right in the middle of my it needs to be in the middle of 3 by 9, okay? So I'm gonna put it directly in the middle. Over here at the maker, you can see I already have another piece of wood prepped and ready to go. Here is my cutout piece of wood, okay? We are gonna press continue. I am going to put in the wood again. Choose the material, awesome. Okay, I'm gonna add this into the Cricut Maker. Same steps as before. We're gonna try cutting this out, okay? We're gonna press the plus sign. Now, while that cuts, we are gonna come over here to the xTool M2. This is done cutting. And this, my friends, is the finished laser cut piece of wood. So just to give you an idea, you're gonna be able to tell the difference between the two, because do you see the sides of this one? It's like a blackish or a dark brown color. This is not. So you can see the difference, okay? But look at, it looks amazing. Both of that looks so good, okay? One just cut a lot quicker than the other one, I feel. All right, so I'm gonna take this out. I'm gonna add in another piece of wood because I want to cut out the font. Going back over into the xTool Studio, I'm gonna press finish, and I'm gonna drag this out of the way, okay? Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna shut the lid of my xTool M2, which starts the automation process all over. We're gonna get a new updated preview of what is inside of my machine, and I'm gonna drag in the letters that we want to cut out, okay? I'm gonna set this to cut, and I'm gonna use the same settings that I did before. Awesome. All right, we are gonna press process. This is gonna take 2 minutes and 13 seconds. We're just gonna press start at the machine. I'm gonna turn on my air filter so it kind of gets a little loud in here. But then over here at the front of the machine, I'm just gonna press the power button. And now the machine is going to start doing its cuts. Okay, so this says 2 minutes and 13 seconds. The Cricut says 5 minutes. I really don't think, I think their timing is a little off. I feel like it takes a lot longer than that. I could be wrong, but I am going to give you actual screen times of how long things cut when I go into the edit. So just know that I will put them up there, okay? All right, this machine is done cutting. We are gonna open this up. And our first day of school cutouts are all cut out, looking fabulous, done. Look at that, perfect. Now there are a ton of ways that you could finish this project off. You could paint the pieces and then glue them onto the pennant if you wanted to, but I'm gonna take it one step further and I'm gonna show you probably what I would have done if I was making this sign, just as like a quick, easy sign for my kids, like last minute. So back at the xTool, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna insert yet another piece of wood. All of this wood that came in this pack was like $8 or something like that, so it's okay to experiment. I don't know why I thought the sheets were gonna be bigger for $8, but you know, that sucks for me for not checking. Over at the xTool Studio, I'm just gonna press finish, and I am going to set in or close the lid to the xTool M2, let the automation process do its thing. All right, I am gonna go back to when I had my SVG file looking like this, because what I want to do is I want to make this a cut and also an engrave sign. I'm going to press process. It's going to take a total of 7 minutes and 42 seconds to get this done. I'm going to turn on my fan. I'm going to press start. Then I'm going to press the front button and let this machine do its stuff. Okay, we do got some cuts here. So it is definitely cutting. You can see that it's very light right now. This is definitely taking a lot longer than 5 minutes. But it is cutting, so that's the great part. The thing that they say here on the screen, it says, oh, now it says an hour and 22 minutes. Hour and 15 minutes. How do we go from 7 minutes to an hour and 15, where it was 5 or something like that? How do we go from that to an hour? So I was accurate, where I'm like, there's no way that this took 2 minutes, the first one. So anyway, I'm gonna be done, long done, creating this sign twice before we're even done cutting with this. Now again, what you could do is just cut this out on wood and then layer with cardstock or HTV or vinyl. And you could be done with that. And that would be like an okay thing, right? But it's gonna look a lot better when we're done over here on the xTool M2 for sure. All right, so this machine is done. The one over there is still cutting, and we have the cutest first day of school sign. Super quick, super easy. Man, I could have bumped up the engraving just a little bit more to get a little bit heavier if I wanted to, but like at the end of the day, this is so cute. Now, since we're still waiting for the Cricut Maker to get done cutting, what I've gone ahead and done was made a whole nother sign just to show you a third way to make the sign with the xTool M2. This right here was printed with the inkjet printer head and then also cut all with the same machine. So you have it with color, you have it with engraving, and then also we could have some three-dimensional. And you could paint and then glue all of this together. So you have this 3 ways with one machine. All right, my friends, we have already made 3 signs with the xTool M2. And yes, you could totally make the same sign 3 ways with the Cricut Maker. However, we are, I don't even know, I think we are in like past 8 out of 14. And look what's on my screen right now. There was a critical error and you need to restart your Cricut machine. Also, the Cricut is in the midst of a cut. I have a blinking power light, and not good. This is a brand new Maker. Please tell me I did not ruin my Maker from this. I think the cuts, honestly, like, made this look at, hold on here. It did not cut all that good for all of my letters. Maybe that O did a really good job, but not everything else. Yeah, we weren't fully cut out of all the letters just yet. Still needed some things to do, but also you can see that the D is starting to peel. The T, look how the T up here, like the layer of the wood is gone. Even my A right here in that spot, yeah. Okay, So it can cut those small little pieces. Cricut does not suggest to cut that small of pieces. Anyway, it would have taken well over an hour to get done. We didn't even get a full finished cut here. So we wasted all of that time, and we would have to redo this project again if you wanted to keep going. But at the end of the day, I mean, we're already done making cool things, right? I'm not even going to paint and glue this. You get the picture. The xTool M2 definitely beats the Cricut Maker, hands down. Amen. All right, y'all, I sure hope I inspired you to create. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and I'll see you next time.